So, hey, I had a physical yesterday, a complete physical exam from my primary care physician, and everything checked out really well. But at the end of the exam, she said something to me that, believe it or not, I was lost for words. I didn't have a great comeback, and I'm kicking myself this morning because I'm thinking about all these things that I should have said. Let's get right into it. Hey there, how are you? Welcome back. Dr. Dave, Microdose You. How are you? So I love my doc here in Salt Lake City. I've been with her for at least 3 to 4 years, something like that. She's great. She's my primary care physician. She's not my mental health doc. But I had a complete physical yesterday, and I want to share something with you. First of all, it was complete. I mean, they did so many things, all the blood work, and I'm happy to say that everything checked out really, really well. I feel like I'm healthier now than I've been in quite some time. And also the questionnaires you have to fill out, they answer questions in a certain way so they can tell if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, if you possibly have sleep apnea. They ask cognitive skills. They ask a whole lot of questions. They do a whole lot of things. It's very, very comprehensive. And luckily, I checked out really well. And this is the first time in several years that I could really say that my anxiety level is down to 0 and I've got no depression. And I'm really happy about that. My doc's been super happy as well. However, at the very end of the physical, she was going over my intake form and some of the things that I wrote down, and she said, well, I see that you say that you use marijuana and magic mushrooms. And I said something like, so whenever somebody says that to me, a healthcare professional, I always try to frame it in a real positive attitude or positive spin on it. So I said, I sure do, or something like that, like in a positive way. And she said to me something like, well, I'm going to recommend that you don't do that anymore. And I was a little bit surprised. I was a little bit taken aback because I don't use alcohol at all, or let's say very, very minimally. I'll drink alcohol when I'm with my wife, maybe we're at a Japanese restaurant, we're drinking a little sake or maybe some soju or something like that. But I would say that I'm not an alcohol user at all, or the most minimalistic you can get with alcohol. So I think she sees that's not a problem at all. I don't smoke. But when she told me she would recommend that I don't use these substances anymore, I said to her, well, these are responsible for the way I feel now, the way I have no depression and the way I have no anxiety. And I said, these are plant medicines and I really believe in them, and they've worked wonders for me. And she said, yeah, I get that, but I still cannot recommend that you use these. And I said, well, I've been using marijuana since I've been in high school, like off and on, and I never abuse it, and I'm it's not addictive, and blah blah blah, and she said, yeah, but it's these are psychedelics. So it's debatable whether cannabis is a psychedelic. I know that when you ingest it in edible form, it does take on the properties of a psychedelic. So that is true. But when I pressed her a little bit more and said, well, tell me what the problem is. Tell me what kind of problem you have with these. And she said, well, these are, the thing I'm concerned about is that these could lead to wider spread drug use, such as, other things. And I looked at her, I said, no, look, I'm in my 60s now. I've been, I have no desire at all to use any other substances. That's not a concern at all, and I want to continue. And she didn't say anything, but and don't get me wrong, I love her. So if you're going to comment, get rid of her, go to another doctor. No, that's not an option, because I think she's probably just following a playbook that maybe she's with MDVIP, which is kind of like a concierge doctor network, and she might just be following a playbook. And maybe I should have said to her, well, doctor, okay, off the record, totally off the record, you and I are sitting down for coffee at a coffee shop, having just as friends, would you still say the same thing. I wanted to say that. I mean, I thought about that this morning. I didn't get to say that to her. I might call her up or might text her and say, let's talk about this for a few minutes. She would absolutely talk to me. But I'm just really curious, and it was just a little bit disconcerting that my doc, I've got 3 docs that I use, and 2 out of the 3, and by the way, I'm always transparent about what I do. Like, I don't hide anything. Like, many of you have told me that you don't even tell your doctor that you use plant medicine. And I don't necessarily think that's a good idea to hide something, because these are doctors. Granted, they might not know as much as we know about this plant medicine, but they still need to have a pretty good picture of your health, and of also what you're doing on a regular basis. So I don't advise hiding this. However, if they give you advice like something like, I'm just making this up now, but magic mushrooms are highly addictive and I'm concerned that you're going to jump off a building, then you know that they just don't know that much about them. So you can take that with a grain of salt, but I still think it's, and my doc did not say that to me, but I still think it's a good idea to share what we do in our lives and not hold back, because again, if you don't share something and they're prescribing some kind of medication for you, they need to know the whole picture, I think. And then you can make your decision. You can make your final decision. You're the one that's in charge of your body, but it's good to share this with your doc. So what I was saying is 2 out of 3 of my docs are all in favor. They totally understand the microdosing or the use of magic mushrooms and even cannabis. But this one doc here in Salt Lake, again, I love her. She's a great doc. I think she just doesn't really necessarily get it. And I'm fine with that. And I think over time, I will have more talks with her, maybe try to educate her more about the wonders of plant medicine, and tell her that, hey, look, the reason that I did not check off the boxes about being depressed or anxious is totally due to plant medicine. So why would you ever tell me not to use these if they've totally changed my life and made me a better, healthier person? So I'll have that conversation with her. And when I do, I will share with you how it went, because I think it's going to probably be different than it was. Again, this was the very end of my exam. We were both getting ready to leave, and I didn't feel I had a whole lot of time to start bringing this up and talking about it, although she would have listened. But I think it's better that I slept on it and am thinking about it today, and I'll go back and have another conversation with her, and it'll be fine. And again, she isn't, I don't think, she's not worried about me in any way, but I think she's just using the talking point that, drugs are bad, don't use them. Pharmaceuticals are better, blah, blah, blah. We all know that's not necessarily the case, but again, I went along with it, but we'll see what happens. I feel kind of bad because I've got so many people that are following me and looking at me or looking towards me for advice on this, and then I wasn't even able to open up to my own doctor the way I really thought I should have. But again, I think the fact that I didn't maybe and had time to think about it, 24 hours to think about this, and then I'll go back and have a better conversation with her. That's probably better anyway, so I think it's going to all work out well in the end. Okay, that's all I want to say to you. Thanks so much for being with me. I really appreciate you. And I'm Dr. Dave. This is Microdose You. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.